your final petition or your application packets, I need to first of all let us understand that what my assumption is that we are submitting Form I-140. You are not doing concurrent, which means that you are not submitting I-140 together with I-485. I-485 is adjustment of status. You are submitting separately. So for somebody that is submitting separately, the application itself is I-140 application. One of the categories of I-140 is EB1A, basically. So that's just the simple explanation. So you want to get your I-140 approved, and that is why we need to do all the things that have basically been discussing. So this I-140, it has a form that you need to fill out. That form, you can actually get it on USCIS website. So I'm going to go to the website. Usually this form always gets updated within a year. It can get updated once or twice. So you can see now this particular one that we see over here, we can see it was updated. It is edition of 06/07/2024. So the point is, you want to make sure that you are not using a template you found on the internet that is older or that has been updated, basically. So that is the simple English. You want to make sure. So if you are using an older form, your application is going to be rejected. Rejected is different from denied. Rejected means that when you send it, USCIS is going to send it back that, okay, there's something wrong with your application. So if there's supposed to be signature somewhere, if there's supposed to be your name somewhere, if your payment is not approved, and all those kind of other issues, there's an issue with your payment, your application is going to be rejected. Rejection is not the same thing as denied. An application can only be denied after it has been reviewed, but an application can be rejected before review. Before they start review, before they consider can we review this application, they can reject it if there is something wrong with your forms. You sent an outdated forms and things like that. So make sure you download these. Usually these are the final things you do, because you don't want to start writing you don't want to do it before you start writing your petition. By the time you finish writing, you forgot to come here again to check whether it has been updated or not. You send it to USCIS, they send it back to you. So that is the one. You fill all this out. Then the next one is the filing phase. So you can either do the check or money order, or you can use your credit card. For a lot of people, sometimes they get their credit card company is unable to approve the payments because maybe they've not done a transaction that is as high as that, and because of fraud, they just try to prevent the transaction from happening. So in that case, usually it's almost always 100% guaranteed that it's going to go through if you are using money order or check. So you fill separate check for your I-140-715. Then there's an asylum fee that was just introduced maybe a few years back or last year. You need to include it. If you don't include it and don't check the proper boxes to check in your I-140, it is going to be rejected again for incorrect filing fees. Then if you choose to do premium processing, it is 2850. So premium processing means that if it is for Form I-140, you want to quickly get feedback about your application. It doesn't change your priority date. It just makes you to quickly get results. You have your priority date for EB1A. The priority date is current for the rest of the world except India, China. So in that case, it doesn't change the priority date, basically. So for a lot of other people, it is sometimes people, maybe they're in an haste and they need to make some decision. I mean, the decision to do premium processing is on you. Are you able to wait for 1 year, for 16 months or 18 months before you get feedback about your application? That's one of the major reason. The other reason is because it's current. It means that if you have an approved I-140 within a month that you've submitted, you can immediately submit your I-485. And between time of you submit your I-140 and less than a year, 6 months, 4 months, it's very possible to have your green card. But if you don't do premium processing, you may not be able to do that. So you may not be able to get your green card. The case is different for EB2 NIW. because for every people, for anyone, irrespective of the part of the world you are coming from, whether rest of the world or India and China, Philippines, Brazil, and any part of the world that you are coming from, it is not current. So which means that even if you have an approved I-140, you cannot go to the next stage until it is current. So that is just a little bit about that. So those are the fees basically that you pay officially to USCIS. So it all depends. The total cost can vary from $1,015 to close to 4,000. You understand? It all depends on whether you are doing premium processing or not. So it's always encouraged to do form G1145. If you just put it on the internet, Google, you are going to get it. Fill it out. It's going to is an authorization for credit card transaction if you are using no, I think I mixed it up. G1450 is authorization for credit card, then G1145 is so G1450 is authorization for credit card. So if you are not using money order or check, that is credit card. But if you want to be notified through email about your acceptance or the progress of your application, then you need to fill G1145, which is notification of application or petition acceptance. So you arrange this form in this order. Then the petition or the cover letter, usually depending on your exhibit and your profile, it can range from 20 pages to 50 pages. So that is your actual petition letter. So usually that is the common between 20 pages. I always advise don't make it too verbose so that you make it easy for the officer to read. But again, it all depends on the individual and the case and your profile and what you have to present. Then you need to have usually I have a document that lists all the evidences that I have, all the exhibits, then all the evidences itself. So this last guy, evidences itself, is what usually take a lot. It can be up to 300-400 pages at times. So that is about that. So and that is how you assemble your application packets, and you do everything. These days they advise you don't put pins, you don't staple, because those are the directions on the USCIS. But again, you put all of them in big envelope at USPS, DHL, or whatever parcel or shipping company that you are using. Again, this is just a summary for the step one I-140 stage. This is what to do. If you are using an attorney, it can shoot this total cost up. This cost doesn't go to USCIS. An attorney can file petition on your behalf to the USCIS. They can take up to 4,000 at times to 15,000. It all depends on the attorney. My video and everything I've discussed about is not discouraging you from going through to the. My video is not discouraging you from using an attorney or an agent or a paralegal. My video is just telling you that it is actually very possible for you to do it on yourself and to get it if you have the time and you can go through the process to learn about it and how to make your arguments. So, and that is the essence of my video. And even if you want to eventually use an attorney, it is also important. Okay, good job. Rárá, ìyẹn máa fi yẹn ṣeré. Daddy ń ṣe meeting mọ̀ bọ́ ṣùgbọ́n Daddy ń record. So even if you want to eventually use an attorney, it is very and super important you understand the process. How much you are able to gain from your attorney depends on how much you understand the process. Sometimes it's your job to convince your attorney that I meet this criteria. Sometimes an attorney may not understand your work very well. It is your job to explain to the attorney how you are top of your field. So if you don't understand the whole process itself on its own, you sometimes people go to attorney and attorney tell them that, oh, you don't qualify, because they feel they don't qualify. So that's just that about that. So again, if you are doing step 2, which is usually the step after I-140, which is I-485, where you adjust your status. This is not for somebody outside the United States. For somebody in the United States, then you do I-485 fee. I-765 is optional. I-131 is optional. I-765 is EAD. The choice of whether you want to do EAD or not depends on the urgency. So if you are not any other and just maybe you are still a student, you have a current visa that is not going to expire, it may not be necessary to do I-765. But if you have urgency that, oh, you need to get to work and those kind of things, then I-765 may be required. Again, these are individual choices depending on the circumstance, situation, and scenario they are. Then we have I-131, which is the medical, beg your pardon, the travel documents. Usually when you have submitted your I-485 adjustment of status, you are not supposed to travel outside the United States because you have expressed an immigration intent by submitting I-485. So by the time you want to enter, they tell you that, oh, you have a temporary visa, you are not supposed to have an immigration intent. So usually, long story short, you need I-131 to travel outside. So if you know you are not going to travel outside the United States, you don't need I-131, the travel document. So you don't need it and it's optional. So then the last one is I-693, medical examination fee. This fee doesn't go to the United States. You are going to pay it to a physician that is going to provide you a medical exam, immunization, and whether you are medically fit and you are okay to be in the United States, and you pay it depending on the physician. Usually there are authorized physician. You can check the internet on Google, a place close to you, USIS website, they list those physicians, and so you pay it to these physicians, and the fee can be between $200 usually to $500. It all depends on the physician and how much they want to collect. So that is just that about assembling your packets and the fees that you need to pay to USIS.